What are NFTs? Why are people like Justin Bieber spending $1.2 million on a picture of an ape, as well as many other celebrities doing the same? In today's video, we're going to discuss the different types of these images and NFTs, and we're going to discuss the different blockchains that they exist on. We're also going to consider reasons why people are interested in buying them, as well as where I see the future of NFTs going and some associated risks of trading NFTs. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So in order to give you a bit of background detail on what exactly an NFT is, I'm just using this article here from CoinDesk by a guy called Ollie Leach because it's really informative, and we're just going to pluck out the most useful and important parts from this article. So what are NFTs and how do they work? NFTs are crypto assets that grant gamers and collectors ownership over their digital items. Now, for centuries, people have been collecting things, whether that's postcards, coins, Pokemon cards, etc. And you understand that people want to collect things. You might not understand why someone collects an individual item, but there's obviously something in human psyche that makes us want to collect things. Okay, so NFT stands for non-fungible token, which means basically that it can't be copied. While you can take a screenshot perhaps of a picture and say that you now own the picture, you don't own the actual physical picture because that is coded into the blockchain and is individual to that particular picture. It's like going and taking a photo of the Mona Lisa or another famous artwork. It doesn't mean that you actually now own that painting just because you have a picture of it. Now, one of the main benefits of collecting NFTs over collecting something like Pokemon cards, for example, we can see here, is that it contains distinguishing information that makes it distinct from any other NFT and can be instantly and easily verifiable by linking it through the blockchain. Now, unlike regular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., NFTs cannot be directly exchanged with one another. This is because no two NFTs are identical, so if I own one type of NFT, it might be worth more than another or less than another depending on rarity, etc. Think of them as kind of like festival tickets, it says here, and each contains a specific bit of information or a ticket number, if you like, that separates it from all the other ones that are around. Now, each of these images here is called a Cryptopunk. You may not have seen them before and think that they're pretty basic, but some of these have sold for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, which is absolutely insane. But these were kind of like the original starters on the blockchain. Now, different artwork has different value, and the value isn't necessarily on the kind of image itself, but what it represents. So what we talk about then is the utility, perhaps, of owning a token. Now, the first kind of concept or discovery of adding a utility to a token was the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which we were looking at earlier with Justin Bieber, Paris Hilton, many other people own these Bored Apes. And at the moment, the cheapest one you can buy is something like 100 Ethereum, which at the current Ethereum prices is around $300,000, which you might think is an insane amount of money to pay for a picture of an ape, perhaps with some sort of funky glasses or something. But what is significant is what the Bored Ape, or by holding a Bored Ape, what that entitles you to. So that actually puts you into a kind of an elite group of people who are all holding these Bored Apes. If you want to go to one of their exclusive parties, you must hold a Bored Ape. Bearing in mind, the people who own these are like sort of superstar, famous pop stars, football players, etc. There's other utilities as well. For example, if you held a Bored Ape this week, there was an airdrop for the Bored Ape Yacht coin, which meant you would have received around $70,000 at the current time in just tokens, just airdrop to you for doing absolutely nothing but owning one of these tokens. And obviously, it's not a cheap investment, guys. $300,000 is, a house in most places around the world, at least. Obviously, $300,000 to buy one of these tokens is an insane amount of money, but the utility behind them, some might argue, was a worthy investment. Obviously, you get airdrops, obviously you get access to future projects. By just owning one of these, you often get invited into the new projects that are coming up that can be very profitable as well. So there's lots of utility that are associated with this. It's kind of like holding a Bitcoin that I know might go up and down in value, but actually I don't get anything in the background of that. I only get the value of the token, whether I want to sell it or not. Whereas by owning something with utility, you can see then that actually it might just be a picture of an ape, but it represents so much more than that. Nowadays as well, by having one of these NFTs, it's like saying that you understand the world of NFTs. You're kind of advancing into the future, and the fact that you can spend $300,000 on a Twitter profile picture means that you're obviously doing all right for yourself. Now, most of the NFTs at the moment are sold on OpenSea, which is an Ethereum blockchain platform. Ethereum obviously was when the first NFTs were built, or where the first NFTs were built. However, we are starting to see more NFTs being built on both Polygon as well as Solana blockchain. In terms of OpenSea, OpenSea has the most volume, the most active users, and therefore it can be easier to find projects in order to be able to sell them, because you need good volume in the market to be able to buy NFTs and sell them. One of the main disadvantages for using OpenSea or using Ethereum is that the gas fees have been pretty astronomically high. A gas fee, if you don't know, is like a transaction fee. So perhaps if you buy an NFT for around, let's say, $400, you could end up paying up to 25% of that price as a gas fee, or maybe even more at some times. However, later in the year, we're due to have an Ethereum upgrade, which is likely going to make it much cheaper and much easier to trade NFTs. Now, Solana is a similar blockchain to Ethereum, but much quicker. Also boasts that it's much cheaper. Therefore, we've seen the rise in Solana NFTs, and you can find them over on websites like Magic Eden or Solana Art. Now, there is opportunity as well to make good returns in Solana NFTs, and they can be kind of more suitable for perhaps people with smaller budgets and beginners because of the lower gas fees. But again, we have a sort of a reduced volume in the market, which can make them sometimes a bit harder to buy and sell. Now, as you can see, looking into this particular project, which is called Invisible Friends, over on OpenSea and was one of the biggest launches of early 2022, you can see that they are all very similar to one another, but perhaps with some sort of different variations. So you can see this one and this one here both have fairly similar looks, but different glasses, perhaps different things going on, which is kind of like different rarities, different aspects of them make them rare or not. There are also other NFT projects that are just individual pictures. There are other types of NFTs which might just be an individual item, or just perhaps a select few of them made. For example, this is Beeple, who is one of the original sellers who took them to Christie's in London and made a huge amount of money in a very short space of time. So there are lots of different varieties of artwork in terms of collectibles and sort of paintings, etc., or one-off piece paintings as well. But ultimately right now, because NFT market is so new, you're getting tons and tons of people flowing onto the platform, as well as that loads of companies are creating NFTs to be able to advertise their brand even more. We're seeing companies like Adidas spending huge amounts of money on developing NFTs in order to raise capital, but not only raise capital, just build brand awareness. Bearing in mind, NFTs can then be displayed in the metaverse and the future metaverse. As well as that, you have gaming. Different games will create NFTs where people can buy individual outfits, perhaps for the players within that game, or can access different things within that game by having NFTs with different utilities, making kind of games more exciting, more interesting in terms of play to earn games where you can own different uniforms, etc., and they might get rare, you might be able to sell them on and gain money through that. Now, at the moment, we're getting loads and loads of new NFTs that don't necessarily have a huge amount of utility. Maybe they are cool artwork, but in my opinion, these are the ones that don't really have the legs to kind of go for a long period of time and will only ever make people money in the short term, perhaps leaving a lot of people holding bags. But something that has really good utility, for example, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, will continue to be popular for a long time yet, in my opinion. Obviously not financial advice, guys. There are obviously a lot of risks associated with buying NFTs. You can't just come across to a website like OpenSea and pay, a lot of money potentially for a picture and then hope that it's going to go up in value. There's always a shot that it might not, and then you might be losing out. But there are lots of different ways in which you can make money with NFTs. So make sure you subscribe to this website, because I often bring you lots of tips and tricks on how I trade the NFT market. Now, in terms of where I see the future of NFTs going, I think that there's a lot of use cases outside of just the physical images like this. If you think about digital documents, for example, passports, anything like ID cards, driving licenses like this, NFTs offer the perfect utility to be able to provide legal documents that can be attached to the blockchain, that can be unchangeable, can't be copied, and can kind of be used on everyday life, whether that's for buying homes, traveling from different countries to each other. The opportunity for the NFT space, once we look outside of what the obvious stuff is right now, is absolutely huge. And therefore, I think it's well worth learning and understanding what NFTs are and potentially how they might change our future, because they're definitely here to stay. At the moment, we're seeing a bit of a dip in the market, and that's because the cryptocurrency market is starting to pick back up again. When we see a push up in the crypto market, we do see a push down in NFTs, as people will move their money across from one to the other in order to get the best gains that they can at any time. Now, finding the perfect NFT to buy to be able to make money can seem a little daunting, but I've put together a course which is linked down in the description. If you want to head over to Udemy, you can take up that course and it will tell you all about these different ways in which you can buy and sell NFTs to be able to make money. As well as that, I'll tell you how you can make your own and sell them on the open market for very, very little. Guys, I hope you got some value out of that video today. Please hit the like button if you have, and if you are new to the channel, then make sure you subscribe to be kept up to date with all the latest happening in NFTs. I also often have NFT giveaways, whitelist giveaways, etc. for my community. Thanks very much, guys. Hope you're having a great weekend. See you soon. Bye-bye.